Good afternoon everybody, Edward Hayden here with you again as part of our Savour Kilkenny video series. Hopefully you're enjoying the recipe. But you know what, my tasty buns never got so much comments as they got last week. Our lovely buns with the pastry and the apple and the lovely Highbank orchard syrup seems to have been baked in every house in the country at this stage. So hopefully that's good, and hopefully you'll continue doing that over the next number of weeks. There's great things going on the Savour Kilkenny social media platforms for our 10-week festival, so please do continue to engage and enjoy them as much as you can. Now, as you know, what I'm doing is I'm cooking my way around Kilkenny, so I'm using the foods of lots of our different producers. So today what I'm doing is I'm making a gorgeous leek, potato and kale soup, and I'm using all of my ingredients from Riversfield Farm. Vincent Grace, of course, is growing all of the wonderful food out there. You would have heard Siobhan talking about him and to him last week. He's got some gorgeous foods. This weekend I took a little trip and just gone into the Little Green Grocer in Kilkenny and also into the gourmet store, and there's such a wide array of fabulous Kilkenny foods that I'll be cooking my way through for the next number of weeks. But today I'm going to make this gorgeous soup because, again, of course, the weather is cold and we're all just looking for something that's nice and warming at this stage. Sometimes I think when we see these green foods as well, we think of them as a lovely power food. But again, of course, lots of vitamins in the kale, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to use it. I'm just peeling some of these lovely organic potatoes, and I'm just going to give them a little rinse, and I'll chat with you then. Now, Vinny does fabulous work outside in Callan, and of course they do like these lovely boxes whereby you can get a vegetable box. You would often have seen them in like the design centre. They're talking about these lovely boxes, and they're just absolutely amazing with gorgeous fresh produce. So the recipe for my soup is very simple, and I think that's the key with soup, is to kind of have it nice and simple. So what I've got is I'm using some of our lovely rapeseed oil. Again, I'm always a great advocate of Kitty Colchester's Second Nature rapeseed oil as well. So I'm putting some of that into my pan, and you can see very simply I haven't got a mountain of ingredients, and I think that's good just so that all of their flavours will shine through nicely. I've got some of these lovely leeks, of course, that I got in my vegetable box, okay, which I've just peeled and washed and sliced. I've got some gorgeous onions, I've got some garlic in there as well, and I've got some of these potatoes which I've just rinsed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roughly chop that garlic. I'm going to pop it in with my onions, and I'm also going to pop it in with my leeks, and I'm going to pop that into the pan and give that a nice saute around, okay? Just pop the leeks, pop the onions, pop the garlic in there with our potatoes, and we're going to saute those up. Regardless what recipe for soup I make, whether it's a vegetable soup, carrot and ginger, sweet potato or curried parsnip, I will always saute off my vegetables first, just to get you that lovely rounded sense of flavour in there as well. So give those a good saute off and saute them really nicely. And as we're sauteing those, I'm just going to put a little bit of salt and pepper on them during the cooking process. Now, what I'm going to do with this soup this evening is I'm going to garnish it with some really nice bacon. So I've got some of the gorgeous Callan bacon. I got a line of Callan bacon. I boiled that yesterday for our dinner, and then I've just chopped up some of the leftovers today into small pieces, and I have them toasting in the oven. So it'll be that gorgeous substantial element to the soup as well. And I'm going to also show you how to make some lovely cheese straws, just to kind of to posh up your soup in there as well. So you can see at this stage, you can even hear at this stage that my vegetables are just wetting along nicely. I don't want to brown them because I want this soup to not be that brown colour. I want it to be a vibrant green, but I'm just wetting them off just to draw out the flavour of the leeks and the onions. Then what I've got is I've got some lovely cream, and of course we're blessed with all of the great dairy industry in Kilkenny. So some lovely full fat Irish cream there, and to that I'm going to add some lovely vegetable stock. You can use chicken or a vegetable stock. I'm going to pop that in there at this stage, and then what we'll do is we'll just give that a little wipe down, pop that in there, and let that just cook down for a few minutes. In a few minutes time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in some of our lovely kale in there. So I want to talk to you about the kale. Now this is of course also from Vincent outside. Now kale, as we all know, is a kind of a form of cabbage. It's that leaf sort of cabbage. It doesn't kind of grow together in the heads as we're familiar with the headed cabbage. So again, it's gorgeous and it has almost those ornamental sort of leaves. What I would tend to do with it is I would just strip it off the stalks. So just using my sharp knife, I'm just going to strip that off the stalks, just like so. And that's really, really tasty. Great to put into anything. Again, you'll often see it being put into these kind of smoothies, or any of you who are kind of great advocates for juicing or something like that, using your NutriBullet, would be using some kale in there as well. And you'll be licking out your skin after that as well. So we're going to pop that into our soup. Again, lots of different uses for that. You could just wilt it down like spinach with a little bit of cream and butter. You could blanch it for a minute or two. You'll see even on their own Facebook page they've got a gorgeous recipe for some lovely kale pesto. But what I'm doing today is I'm using a two-pronged attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this kale now into the soup. I'm going to cook it in the soup there. That soup, once it comes to the boil as it now has, will cook for about 15 minutes or thereabout at a simmer. 15-20 minutes should be sufficient to cook that. Get all that kale in there to cook that, and then we're going to blitz it down using our lovely immersion stick blender. As I said, we're going to serve it with some of the lovely crispy Callan bacon, but I thought it might be nice to show you how to make a few simple cheese straws here as well. And also, can I just show you what I've done is I've actually roasted some kale, so we've got some lovely kale crisps. Just listen to this. Okay, you see that lovely kale. So what I've done is I've just put some gorgeous kale with some rapeseed oil and a little bit of sea salt into the oven, about 10-12 minutes, and that's lovely and crispy. Gorgeous if you're just looking for snacks or for salad items, but I'm just going to use some of that on the top of the soup there as well. Now, so all of that is good. Do you know, I wish you had smell-o-vision here. There's just such a gorgeous aroma filling the kitchen of lovely fresh vegetables. I'm just going to turn that down now to that simmer, and what I might do is I might just move it over here to this hob, just so that you get a better sense of what I'm doing with the cheese straws. The cheese straws are very, very simple. I'm just going to check the ones I have in the oven, and they're looking absolutely delicious. So, very simply what I've got is I've just got a little piece of puff pastry. I'm just using half a sheet of puff pastry, and I have a bit of parchment paper underneath it. I'm going to take some egg wash. That's just some egg and milk mixed together, just like so. Not too much, and just brush that all over one side. And you see I'm just almost taking it off as cordons and I'm brushing it on. And then I'm just going to carefully flick that. That's the daisy. And I'm going to do the exact very same on the other side. So just brush it. Brush, 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 brush. Just like so. Then what I'm going to do is I've got some chili powder or some cayenne pepper, and I'm just going to shake that over the top, just like so. And then I've got some lovely Parmesan, or you could use some beautiful Irish cheddar or whatever type of hard cheese you wish, and just brush those just like so, or spread those over the top. Now, here's the fun bit. Cut that then into little strips, just like so. So I'll just do maybe 4 or 5 just to give you a sense of them, and I'll do the rest of them when our video is finished. Lift them up just like so, our strips, and then see what I'm doing? Just twisting them very gently and putting them onto the tray. As I'm putting them onto the tray, I'm just pressing them quite firmly so as to secure them onto the tray, so they'll bake really nice and evenly. These are gorgeous if you want to use them to garnish with the soup, and they're really nice to have as a little tasty snack. Do you know the way, if we ever get to the stage that we can have friends around for a glass of wine, again, these are just gorgeous to have with a gorgeous glass of wine. Do you know, just as a little nibble, something savoury to nibble on, and use whatever type of cheese. Now again, think of doing all variations of these, so maybe consider doing them with some basil pesto spread onto them, or other flavours or other spices that you might like. Even a little bit of a black olive tapenade would be lovely there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue those a little bit later on, and I think we'll just have a little look and see how things are motoring away. So just give a little clean down. I always get a laugh actually when people tell me that they love how I'm always so clean when I'm cooking, but I think it leaves a much better psychological feeling if when you've finished your dish or finished your dinner, if the place is somewhere low and orderly, it makes you want to go back at the cooking again. So there's there's method in my madness, as the fella says. Now, okay, so we've got our gorgeous soup here, and I'm just going to go to the oven and have a little look at our things in the oven. So as I said to you, we've got the lovely Callan bacon, we've got our lovely cheese straws, and I suppose what I'm saying to you, my invitation to you in the middle of all of this process is to marry our great producers together. We're now never more cognizant of the kind of the work of the producers. The awareness of food provenance is hugely important, and again, of course, the awareness of shopping local. So in whatever way you can, try and support local and shop local. Great food producers right across Kilkenny, and of course the surrounding counties as well, and we look at those as the weeks go along, but support them as best as you can. And again, of course, you're enhancing your own culinary goodness in terms of the intake as well. Look at that lovely bacon, isn't that just absolutely gorgeous? And hear how lovely and crisp that is. So what I've got is I've just then blended down my lovely soup. It cooked for about 15 or 20 minutes, pushed into a food processor, or as I said, the immersion stick blender. And then I'm just going to ladle in some of our lovely soup. And again, you can see it has the most resplendent green colour. It's a kind of a does your mother come from Ireland sort of a colour there as well. Pour in your lovely bowl of soup. And like sometimes in our house, particularly maybe in the middle of the week, we might have soup as our main course. We're often familiar with people having soup as their starter, but in the middle of the week it's nice maybe, or on a Monday after a weekend indulgence, it can be gorgeous to just have soup as a main course. Take some of that lovely crispy bacon there and just pile that in the centre. And as I said, what that does is it just tends to expand its substance in terms of making it a more substantial meal. Take some of our lovely little bits of crispy kale here as well, and we'll pop those to the side. And then all we're missing is the 1 or 2 little cheese straws, and we've just got the most glorious bowl of soup. So hopefully you'll enjoy trying that out over the rest of this week. I'll be back with you Lacuna of Day next Wednesday. Until then, continue to engage with all of our platforms, and I'm going to leave you having the soup. Talk to you soon.